Welcome everyone to the Almost Cancelled TV podcast. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Connor.
Yes, still here.
This is your weekly show in which we talk about renewals, cancellations, pilot orders, some casting here or there, maybe some trailers, whatever's come up. One thing we should make clear: this is going out early, of course, for Patreon on Saturday. It'll go up publicly on Sunday. Comic-Con is currently ongoing. It started, I think technically yesterday, but there wasn't really any news until today. So there's a few Comic-Con things in the news. There will probably be more by the time this actually goes out, and that'll be on next week's show. Just be prepared for that, okay? Right? Because normally there's no news at the weekend, so it doesn't matter that we record on a Friday or Thursday and then it doesn't go out until Sunday. This is one of the few weeks of the year where it'll actually make a difference because Comic-Con's ongoing. There's probably stuff coming out of it.
There will be more news,
yes,
undoubtedly.
So keep that in mind as we go forth into things. Before we get going, I will say I did actually go back and finish season 1 of Severance this week and did a video talking about the back half of the season. So you can go check out that. It was very good. I recommend it. So
that's it. I've got this week off and I intended to start watching Stranger Things.
You didn't?
I didn't. I started watching Kids on the Slope instead, and it might be. I've got 2 episodes left, and it might be my favorite TV show of all time. If it lives
I've
up.
literally never heard of it. What is it?
It's an anime.
Okay, I don't care. Stop.
It's a drama anime. It's a coming of age drama set in like the 60s by the director and composer from Cowboy Bebop, and it is about some kids and their jazz. And it is phenomenal. It is one of the best things I've ever seen in any medium.
Yeah, when the day comes that we do our 50 top TV shows of all time, I'm going to absolutely hate your list.
You will, but just if anyone interested, the animation in this is spectacular. The way they animate the musicians. I've never seen drumming so accurate. Like, most films that have like musicians look less accurate than this animation.
I've never seen drumming look so accurate. I'll see they put that in the,
like in like on screen.
Put that in the poster. Put that in the Connor. Drumming. Never seen drumming so accurate.
Hey, watch one of this any kind of clip from the show of them playing the music, and you will understand what I mean. It is special.
Let's get started on the news, shall we? Because
are we opening with Lord of the Rings?
No, we're not opening with Lord of the Rings.
We're opening with Star Wars.
No, we're not opening with Star Wars.
God damn it!
I
bet you've not got even either of these stories in there.
I'm starting with renewals because we always start with renewals.
They're not as important.
I'm sticking to my format, you prick. Now you,
fine.
You simmer down and brace yourself. But yes, so renewals up first. For All Mankind, this is a hot at Comic-Con, has been renewed for season 4. This is the Apple TV show.
Oh, the Apple. Okay.
Yeah.
There's another one with a similar title that I always get it mixed up with. I don't know what it is now off the top of my head, but there was one.
I can't think of another show with Mankind in the title, but unless it's the For All that you're
No, I'm sure it was Mankind, but
okay,
it's fine. I know which one this is now that you said the Apple.
Yes. That is actually another one that I kind of want to go back and give more of a chance to at some point because I've heard good things about where it goes, and I do like the showrunner. But I've got some other shows that I want to get to and possibly get some do some catching up on, before I maybe consider this one. But yeah, that's cool. So season 4 is happening. It's nice to see that Apple seemingly for now is supporting the shows that are doing well, that are. That have got scope to keep going for X number of seasons. Obviously, if a show's only planned for 3 seasons, say, like Ted Lasso and
there was
else,
definitely some comments from the cast that implied, I think it was this week or last week, that implied that yes, there will kind of just be the 3 seasons.
Yeah. Resident Alien got renewed for season 3, which is cool. 12 episode season, and this is actually a little early because season 2 is just about to debut in August, so
confident, man.
Yeah, I'm happy for Alan Tudyk, but get a paycheck.
Yeah,
it was a decent pilot. I wasn't like super excited to watch more of it, but it was he was
it was fine.
solid enough. There was a couple of good jokes in it. I mean, if someone told me that it got better, I would be like, yeah, I believe it might have done. Because yeah, I saw some potential in it. It just, not all the jokes landed. It was kind of 50-50 if the jokes were hitting for me in that first episode. But happy for Tudyk to get a nice paycheck, if nothing else. So that is good. Season 3 renewal as well for What If, the Marvel animated series. Again, this is early. Season 2 is not even launched yet.
I didn't think that had season 2 yet.
No, it's launching early next year, season 2. So they're getting way ahead of this. I wonder if this is something to do with the fact that they get a lot of big actors to voice the roles in it, so they have to get in ahead and
probably
book it all. I don't know. So there's that. Abbott Elementary got renewed for season 2 on ABC. This was one that was popping up in the Emmys that we were like, oh, what's this? It mentions here it's a full season for season 2, meaning that I assume season 1 was only like a 13 episode or something around there.
Maybe, yeah.
So full 22 episode for season 2, which is cool if people are liking it. Neat.
Well, judging by the Emmys, I'm assuming people are liking it.
I mean, yeah, I'm mildly curious to check it now, just to see if it, because it's a sitcom. I'm just curious to see.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good. Breeders got renewed for season 4 by FX and Sky. This is the Martin Sheen. Sorry, Martin Freeman, not Martin Sheen. Wrong Martin. Martin Freeman.
Okay, I know which show this is now that you've said that.
Yeah.
Like, what's Martin Sheen?
Do you know what it is? It's because I always worry about saying Morgan Freeman instead of Martin Freeman. And I did this flip where instead of that I said Martin and then the wrong last name.
Too many Martins is what you're saying.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that's getting season 4, and then. Yeah, so that's the renewals. That's all the renewals, right? So a healthy list of renewals. There's a lot of them quite early as well, so they're feeling confident about the shows. Nice to have some positivity coming out of Comic-Con. All good stuff. So we have some fairly meaty Walking Dead news in this next section here.
Oh, yay!
I know, yeah, you're thrilled.
Let me pretend to be excited.
So. This is a change of plans. You remember how they were going to do like a trilogy of Rick movies with Michonne?
I do, yeah.
They're not doing those anymore. Instead, they're getting a 6-episode limited series, which is kind of about the same runtime when you think about it. It's 3 2-hour movies. Yeah. So, yeah. So from a perspective of shooting and like how much work the cast are like going to be doing, it's probably about the same compared to the trilogy. But for whatever reason, they have decided to do this instead of doing movies. Maybe they just felt it was a better fit for it. What's so weird about this is that like the main show is ending, Daryl's gone off into a spin-off, and it's so weird to me that now the original main character and then one of the bigger supporting characters are also now going to be in a limited series, which they're calling it a spin-off, but like it just kind of feels like the show's splintered into like the characters will just split up into their own shows.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
They get more money out of it this way.
They do. I feel like, but I gave up like early season 3 because season 2 was dreadful. I gave season 3 a chance. I didn't like it and I was out. But it is kind of weird to me that the show starring Rick isn't considered the main show anymore. Like it's also a spin-off now. Like it's just how much they've messed with this in terms of like spinning and franchising and all sorts of shenanigans. But there you go, limited series. They announced it at Comic-Con.
Thrilling. More Walking Dead. Just what the world needs.
Okay, well here's something interesting. So you know how we're getting that Godzilla and the Titans show?
I do. I'm much more excited about this one. Yeah,
this is Apple as well, which, to be fair, their stuff does look nice and expensive.
Yeah, so Apple are bloody rich.
Yeah. We got some casting for it, and this is an interesting duo that's been cast. We've got a father-son duo that have been cast, and they are big names. Kurt Russell and his son Wyatt Russell have joined the cast.
Okay. Are they playing father and son? Because, I mean, you'd assume so, but also there's no reason why they have to.
It just says the roles weren't divulged, so we don't actually know, but you can speculate that they might be. This is cool. I mean, Kurt Russell's a really big deal to have on a TV show. Wyatt Russell I've liked in a few things that I've seen him. He was in Overlord, which is like a sort of pulpy B movie, like Nazi zombie thing.
Yeah,
it
kind of fun.
It was a fun time. He was solid in that. He's been solid in a couple of things I've seen him in. So, obviously Kurt Russell's great because he's Kurt Russell. So,
he is a legend in his own right.
Yeah. So they're joining who's already been cast, which includes the biggest name is probably Kiersey Clemens is the sort of the biggest name they had. Not anymore, obviously, because Kurt Russell's in the show. But yeah, you know, like when they first announced this show, I was oh, this is weird. We're getting a Godzilla TV show that ties into these new movies. I don't know what they're going to do with this. But the more they like announce for it, the more like, oh, they're actually putting some serious, you know, names into this and money. Like, okay, all right.
Yeah, typically these cross-media ventures just don't work.
I don't know if it will work, but I'm fascinated to find out now.
But they seem to be trying at least this time, as opposed to just coasting on. Well, it's got the same name as the other stuff. It'll work.
Yeah. And speaking, not as famous, of course, this case, but I thought it was somewhat notable that Zach Galligan is returning for his role on the Gremlins animated series, Secrets of the Mogwai. He was the lead, obviously, in the two live action movies. And I don't know if he's done much acting in the last 30 years, but he's going to be on it. They also announced George Takei and Sandra Oh are going to be on the show.
Okay.
Along with Randall Park and Bowen Yang. So, it's interesting. But yeah, I thought it was worth noting. So, very good.
Did you see the comments this past week about how Baby Yoda just ripped off the Gremlins?
I did, yes. Joe Dante should be listened to. He's right. And
is he though, or is he a bitter old man?
No, he's right. If you see them side by side, you're like, yeah, you know what? This is actually quite damning when you look at Gizmo and Baby Yoda side by side. It's something.
It's really not.
It really is. Baby Yoda's trash. Accept it.
The world disagrees with you.
The world's wrong about a lot of things. This is not new.
You're wrong about a lot of things.
For the record, I don't think he even cares that much. I think he's just being brutally honest about what he thinks of Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda looks more like Gizmo than does Yoda.
What? No, it doesn't.
It does. It totally does. There's total Gizmo vibes.
Maybe you need to look next to Baby Yoda and Yoda side by side to kind of reevaluate your perspective.
But what's important is that Gremlins and Gremlins 2 are better than The Mandalorian. That's the important part here.
It's just apparently not true.
Everything Joe Dante's made is better than The Mandalorian. So
it's definitely not true.
Come on, the Burbs, Explorers, Small Soldiers, Inner Space, all better.
I want to make this clear. I like Joe Dante movies. Just you, I'm not like to say they're all terrible or anything like that. They're good. Some of them are great. Most of them are great.
Mm-hmm.
But so is Mandalorian.
Nope. Next up, Netflix are going to be launching an advertising tier apparently in the early half of 2023. What's interesting about this is there was also a headline that I saw, which is they lost 1 million subscribers for Q2 because the reports were coming out for Q2 of the year, but that was actually a positive because the projections were worse. So it's like, oh, we only lost 1 million. Oh.
Yeah, had a few Netflix things this week that are kind of on this line. Like there were some comments with this news story because obviously this was an official announcement where they talked about how we're going to be tweaking how it works. They talk about how maybe not all content will be available on the ad one. It might be just some things you might have to pay for the premium stuff. They talk the amount of ads, where they're placed. All of it will be subject to change. And they're like, the tier as you see it a year after it launches will probably be pretty different to the day of the day it does launch.
Yeah, sounds a little unfocused. Not that things can't evolve, but it does sound a little unfocused right now. I would say that Netflix is already so expensive that even the ad tier, I'm still imagining being more expensive than most of the other streaming services, which is very unattractive as a
an ad
prospect.
Tier has to be it can't be more than $5, right?
Yeah, that's how I feel. But I can see it being 10 because their current tier is already over that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I know. Obviously, I think it's mostly been affecting it was Latin American countries, but they've been rolling out in some places the add a household, like add a home feature.
Yeah, this is them to try to stop password sharing by like so you can still travel and use your Netflix, but if you're doing it for more than 2 weeks, it'll ask you to pay to add a household for like a few dollars per month.
Yeah, I think it was like $3 a month.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, if you are sharing a password with someone and you're splitting the cost of Netflix, adding $3 would still be cheaper than you both buying your own Netflix. So I guess it's still effective cost wise, but
But for those of us who just have our account mooched off by parents, for example, who don't know any better and
like,
will never ever see this news article, that will be a nasty surprise for them should that be implemented.
yeah.
Sorry, Mum.
Yeah. I don't know. I
I'll be honest, I didn't even realize my mother was still logged into my Netflix account until I saw her the other day and she mentioned watching stuff on Netflix. And then I happened to realize, oh, that's on a profile on my account. Huh.
she's been leached for a while then, but besides that,
Probably by a decade.
yeah. Yeah. So they're doing a lot. It's just so weird though, because they've raised their prices higher than just about anyone else. You have to pay extra for 4K, which every other service doesn't make you do.
Unless you're Now TV in the UK, which
yes, but I don't count those.
Makes you pay extra for 1080p, let alone 4K.
I don't even count Now TV because Now TV is so separate to all these other conversations.
It is. I'm still bitter about how stupid that is.
But Netflix, they make you pay more for 4K, which none of the other services do. They are looking at ways to make more money through ads. They are like, it feels like they're doing so much, and I'm like, how are you struggling this much? Is this just because you borrowed so much money to make so many shows over the last 5 years? You're just like this screwed right now? I don't know. It's weird, but hey ho, bit of desperation and all that. Yeah. So there you go. So we have a new animated show in the works.
Wait, are we on the new shows already?
Yes, we are.
Well, then can I throw in my tidbits here? Because at least one of them is actual casting news for a lead role in an upcoming show.
But there are tons of lead casting roles. I only mention them when there's someone notable.
It's in a major show, and also it is someone that has been in other things, not just a no-name.
I'll decide if it's a major show. What's the show?
It's The Acolyte, which is one of the upcoming Star Wars shows.
I've never even heard of this. What the hell's The Acolyte?
This is one of the ones that they announced back in that investors meeting last year. It was in that massive slate. This one is, I believe the premise is set like 100 odd years before the prequels, and it's about a relatively young girl training to become a Sith, I think. So she's a Sith acolyte. And the casting is Amanda Stenberg, who was in the Hunger Games movies. She was Rue, the younger girl in the Hunger Games movies.
Absolutely fascinating.
Hey, objectively worth having in this, and you, I know you just looked over it because these news articles. I'm glancing now because I want to get the name. 4, 5, 6 hours ago, you just said you refreshed, checked for any news that was in the last few hours, and you just ignored this. You willingly overlooked this
because I said this is not worth talking about.
It is worth talking about. That is news.
You know what's so funny is you always joke about the patrons making me watch a bunch of pilots that I clearly don't want to watch. I've lucked out this month because there's like 4 of them, so they all can't win.
Is there actually?
Andor's this month. The Lord of the Rings show is this month. No, that's the Game of Thrones show.
That's September. Is Lord of the Rings?
That's the Game of the Thrones show. No, it's all good. No, you're right. It's right at the start of September. But Game of Thrones and Andor are both out, but they're out the same month that the Sandman's out, and they're out the same month that She-Hulk's out. So
forget She-Hulk. They don't care about that one that much.
Look, I've seen the results starting to come in, and it looks like I may dodge some bullets because there's too much competition.
Right, all I'm saying, people, is Andor and Game of Thrones. They're the 2 you need to make him watch. Sandman after that. She-Hulk, he's just going to go, it's another Marvel show. Whoop-de-doo. There's your review.
I'm just saying some bullets might get dodged because there's too much
But
competition. It's
I can
actually
predict. I can predict
amazing.
your She-Hulk review. Good lead actress, mediocre Marvel show. I've just saved the patrons a vote.
It that may be accurate, but it's not even. It may not even be She-Hulk that gets in the way.
Yeah, but at least the other ones I will be satisfied that you have to watch.
Yeah, there's a Steve Carell show coming from Hulu called The Patient with Donald Gleason in it. Yeah, and
Really?
yeah. People seem hyped about that. That's
Yeah, but you might just check that anyway out of there's hype around this, as opposed to the other ones that you've got to be forced to watch. The patrons know this. They're strategic.
No, I won't. No, they pulled that this month with they didn't. No one voted for Paper Girls. I'm probably still going to check out Paper Girls. I don't care about The Patient that much though. but they might care about me reviewing a potentially good show more than a one and done that I'm obviously going to hate just for the amusement of it. There's too much competition. This is Patreon pilot deadlock, and I love it because I can't possibly watch all the shows I don't want to watch, and that's amazing.
I think you could be convinced.
It's great. And I almost put in the Lord of the Rings show as well, because sometimes I'll put in like stuff that's from because it's like the 2nd of September. Sometimes I'll put in like the first 2 or 3 days like shows, and the reason why I didn't is because I already had 7 shows and I looked ahead at September, and September's like, you know what, it's actually quite quiet because most of the returning network shows are all season 2s, 3s, things like that. There's not that many new shows in September right now. Admittedly, the streaming services I don't think have actually announced their dates for September yet, so they might get populated by them. But so I just left Lord of the Rings off for the following vote. But if I'd put that in as well, baby,
yeah,
they would.
Then
be
you'd have been cooking the numbers, and you'd have just you'd have felt like you were disrespecting the patrons and stealing their money. That would have eaten away at you inside. You'd have had to just do it out of to cleanse your soul.
All right, we got a new animated show.
Wait. One more little thing, because it's Lord of the Rings related. So you know how I was really disappointed last year when we covered that trailer? That was like, musically they're sticking with Howard Shore's stuff from those movies. They're very attached to it. Yeah, Howard Shore's writing the theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was like, okay, but at least it's only the theme song. But on the downside, it means they're still attached to that general sound. They did also announce the main composer for the show, though, which I am actually quite happy with. And you might be too, given that you're going to have to watch an episode. Bear McCreary.
Yeah, I saw this news.
Which I think is a great show, especially following up on like his God of War work, for example, is probably the closest stylistically we're going to get, out of his previous body of work. That's kind of already in the wheelhouse of that Lord of the Rings music. Has me very interested in what he could do, and I hope he's not too beholden to kind of working in the original themes from the original movies, because I think there are very few composers who do that well, and I think honestly Giacchino might be one of the only composers that I can think of that does a really good job of working in themes like that. All right, carry on. We've got a new animated show.
Yes, based on a video game as well.
Is it a video game I care about?
Probably not. Grounded, the Xbox multiplayer game that's Honey I Shrunk the Kids, basically.
No, it's just a survival crafting game, isn't it?
Yeah. So the Xbox game, which is inspired by A Bug's Life and Honey I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah, I was going to say if it just said A Bug's Life, I was going to call bullshit. There's no way Honey I Shrunk the Kids did not play a role in the creation of that game. Yeah. So it's been adapted by Star Wars Clone Wars writer Brent Friedman. And it exists in the same universe as the game, follows 4 friends. I mean, it exists in the same universe. Like the game has like some big story. It's a multiplayer game.
Multiplayer games can have stories.
It exists in the same universe as the game, which follows 4 friends who the summer before high school plan big things, wink wink, to elevate their social standing, but their plans are upended when they stumble upon shrinking technology that makes them 2 inches tall. Now the 4 shrunken friends must learn to survive in a towering backyard that's a jungle full of enormous predators and hiding a vast corporate conspiracy threatening their entire town. So it's a long version of Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
With giant spiders.
There was a giant spider in How I Met Your Kids.
Is that? It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
There was. I'm sure there was. I mean, technically, it's not a giant spider. It's just that the people are so small that.
Well, yes, that's the same here as well. I'm using giant in a relative sense.
Yes. Yes. Like, for example, in the first episode of The Boys season 3, you might say there's a giant penis, but it's not really a giant penis.
It's not. But relatively speaking to that other guy.
Perspective is the thing.
Important.
All right. Let's go on to the dramas then. We got a host of things to talk about here. We have a new show called Wolfpack for Paramount Plus, which is like a spin-off or loosely connected to Teen Wolf. And they're doing like a movie, and then this is coming after.
I was gonna say there's a movie that's coming out fairly soon.
And I think that's connected to the show as well. And then this is because this was at the Teen Wolf the movie panel at Comic-Con. One of the stars and co-producer of this new show appeared on stage. And you may have heard of her, Sarah Michelle Gellar. I believe she was in a hit television show at some point.
I saw this article the other day, presumably yesterday because if it was Comic-Con, it must be yesterday. And I didn't read it. I just assumed that it was telling me she was in that upcoming movie. And I was like, that's fine. You got no excuse to bring that up. And yet here we bloody are, and it's a TV show.
It's a TV show, yeah.
I'll just stab myself now.
Yeah. Comic-Con royalty, they call her. That seems fair. So, written and executive produced by Teen Wolf developer, executive producers, Wolfpack is based on the book series by Ido van Belkom. It follows a teenage boy and a girl whose lives are forever changed when California wildfire awakens a terrifying supernatural creature. Gellar's going to star as arson investigator Kristen Ramsey. Arson investigator.
That's a very specific job title.
A highly regarded expert in her field and no stranger to personal loss, brought in by authorities to catch the teenage arsonist who started a massive wildfire which may have led to the reawakening of a supernatural predator terrorizing Los Angeles. So you're saying that she's investigating a fire that might have opened the hellmouth, is what you say?
They are saying that.
What are you drinking for?
I'm sure there was a personal profession in there that when I started turning around.
Oh, okay. Expert in her field and no stranger to personal loss. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, that was what it was.
Okay. I can see it.
I knew there was something that made me go, yeah, that probably hits it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to making Buffy or Angel alumni one of the rules as well.
No. That does not need to be ruled because I do not encourage this nonsense.
Yeah, Gellar back in the saddle doing a show. I have the really interest in Teen Wolf, but I wonder if we're seeing her pop up in more potential things now because maybe her kids are a bit older and she's starting. I can I don't have to be full-time mum anymore. I can go back to taking some more long-term roles.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because I know she had. I know because this is just because they were both in the same show. But I know Alison Hannigan as well. Like she had kids, and then the acting jobs kind of dissipated for a while.
When was that? Wasn't that long.
What do you mean?
Well, she can't have been off for that long, right? Unless this was relatively recently.
Oh yeah, I think it was like towards the end or after How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Because that wasn't. Oh, actually, when did that end? It was probably about 7 years ago now, wasn't it?
That's a while ago.
Yeah.
Because I remember there was she was on like a talk show, I saw a clip of online a few years ago where she's like, yeah, I mean, I've just been a mum now, like so, like, because I think they were asking her because they always ask the actors this, like, oh, do you see so and so that you worked with on this movie or show still? It's like the only people I see are like other kids' parents. That's all I'm seeing right now. That's my life for the foreseeable future.
I absolutely get this. I don't know. It's such a weird question to me, but to ask because in my experience, when I leave a job, I probably speak to the people who I literally worked with. 5 days a week. I will speak to them all week long. I barely speak to any of them ever anymore, unless I happen to bump into them on the street.
I mean, obviously, you might form a friendship that actually, goes outside of the workplace. And I guess that's what they're always hoping for, some juicy celebrity friendship stuff. But
for the most part, though, you can be still like good friends, and get along with people at work.
in this example, Alison Hannigan is literally married to another actor that she met on Buffy. So
yes,
clearly, that one transcended the work relationship.
yeah, I don't dispute that it happens, but I assume that's in the minority of the
Yes.
of the relationships that any actor has with other actor, right?
It's work. You like some of them, you don't like some others. Maybe you're just acquaintances with some, and maybe there's the odd one who becomes an actual friend who you know, actually do things with after you're done with the job.
Yeah.
But regardless, moving on anyway. So the wolf pack. Don't mess with the wolf pack. You'll wind up in a body bag.
Go on. We'll go next.
Yeah.
Let me drink again.
Yeah.
Or don't.
That was a reference for everyone but Connor, basically. All right. So next up, Paramount Plus has ordered The Doll Factory. It's an adaptation with Marcella Indy Buccaneer Media attached. Australia, New Zealand are on board. So this is actually the UK wing of Paramount Plus. So now that Paramount Plus is launched in a bunch of places, there's like local originals being greenlit. So yeah, they've ordered an adaptation of the Sunday Times best-selling. The Sunday Times bestseller. Do you know we always read the New York Times best-selling? I've never read the Sunday Times best-selling like it's as important.
Hey, maybe it is.
Sunday Times. The Sunday Times best-selling novel, a dark thriller story of obsession centered around the doll painter and her twin sister. Oh, twins? I never. So yeah, Marcella, crime, and Whistable Peril, or Whistable Peril. I don't know. Is this like whistable as in to whistle? So it's whistable, or is whistable a word?
I don't know.
I don't know. So it word to me. But anyway, so it's a 6-part thriller drama, and it'll join the Paramount Plus original lineup. So let me give a description here. Set in London in 1850, the doll.
So it's a Pete show.
Piss off. The Doll Factory tells the story of Iris, who paints dolls for a living alongside her twin sister Rose. Iris and Rose. Is there a? Nah, there's no real pairing with those two. Is there?
The link is just flowers.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
That's the theme. They're both named after flowers. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought that might be some witty, like. Yeah, sometimes you name twins, like, especially in TV shows, you go for like a pairing of names that, yin and yang or some. Not literally yin and yang.
Yeah, I know. No, I think that is the pairing, the theme that the parents chose here would be.
Yes.
Oh, we'll name them after the two favorite flowers or something stupid like that. I don't know.
Yes. So Iris dreams of becoming an artist, and by night secretly paints herself naked. Okay. Silas is a taxidermist who owns a shop filled with his creations. He dreams of one day finding an item so unique that he will be catapulted to fame. Lewis is a painter and member of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, searching for his next muse. When Iris meets Silas and then Lewis, not Lewis. Lewis. Do you know what? I'm wishing I was watching Halloween all of a sudden and I'm thinking of Lewis. She is offered an opportunity to escape and start a new life. With both of them? Two men? Okay, whatever. To do so, she must abandon her sister, sacrifice her reputation, and launch herself into the unknown. But as Iris' world expands, a story of dark obsession begins to unfold. So it's like a love triangle then with the two guys.
No idea. This sounds. See, when you started this story, I was cynical because I don't know how aware you are with the UK regulations with networks, and I think they're moving it into streaming services, being that a certain percentage of the content on them in this country has to be British produced to encourage people to make content here.
Okay.
So when you started this story, I'm like, Paramount Plus, they've just launched, so they've got to start getting some content in so they can hit that arbitrary quota. But this sounds pretty more expensive than is necessary to do that. But it still sounds really messy.
I think it's kind of this weird thing where I do think there'd be a reasonable amount anyway. Maybe there's a few extra things to hit the quota that's like been mandated, but like I don't necessarily think they would avoid making UK things if there wasn't like some sort of mandate. It's and I kind of from an industry perspective I get it, just from like, okay, there's an industry in the UK that needs to keep making stuff, and they're just making sure that there's always work for, you know, everyone up and down the food chain, as it were, on film crews, TV crews, things like that. But
yeah, I mean, knowing people who are in that chain, it's pretty diverse. There's a lot of work in the UK film industry and TV. Just kind of combining them together.
Yeah, no, there is. There's a healthy amount. So, yeah, I can't say it appeals to me. It sounds a bit, you know, I'm not a period piece guy, and admittedly, if you tell me it's a dark thriller or horror set in 1850 London, I'm like, okay, I can be into that.
I think,
but
yeah, I'm not inherently for or against period pieces. The problem is with this one, if you just do the exact same thing, but it's set in modern day, right?
Yeah.
You change the profession of the doll factory to something very slightly different to make it more modern.
Right, Funko Pop factory.
Sure, there you go. Job done. We definitely have those in the UK, and they're not just in China, but whatever.
Well, you just said pick something equivalent.
I know.
I wasn't thinking about the logistics of where they actually are.
It still sounds really bland and kind of a mess, and just like I don't understand what exactly it wants to be.
And there's that bit in the middle where it's literally just the start of like 3 sentences in a row is, and then there's this character, who is this? And then there's this character, who is this? And it's just like there's no flow to this that's making it intriguing. It's just kind of
badly written description.
Telling me a lot of things, yeah. So there you go. Next up, fresh off the boat, producer / author and boogie filmmaker Eddie Huang, I'll say Huang, has got a new 1-hour drama in development at Showtime. It's called Panda. And the pilot is going to follow Panda, which is a gifted delinquent who starts selling ecstasy in Orlando, Florida during the press pill boom of the late 90s. He's motivated by his mother's challenge to be the best of stupid people. Sounds like a great mother. With the help of Jade, a cunning private school girl from the other side of town, they're able to connect the hoods and take over the burgeoning drug trade in the Florida breaks rave scene. I could not be less interested in this if I tried. So this is like just, you know, a premise and concept that I'm just not that interested in. But then being on Showtime, I can see kind of the edgy sleaze show that it wants to be. Like, look at these cool characters who are doing this. You know,
all these drugs and sex that we're going to have on screen. It's kind of the vibe that I can already feel them like going.
Yeah. With. So I'm good. Don't want nothing to do with this. It's fine.
Yeah.
You can have it. Off you go. Did I get moved to the wrong location? I've got a renewal like randomly in the middle of these shows.
So much for your sacred format.
This was an accident, though. This was not an intentional thing. I just moved the tab to the wrong place. The Wheel of Time got renewed for season 3. There you go. Have at it.
Oh yeah, I did see that, and I honestly thought you were going to open with that one because it's probably the highest profile renewal.
Arguably, is anyone talking about Wheel of Time? I don't know if they are.
Still a fairly big show. Season 2 hasn't hit yet either, which I don't think. I think it's still upcoming.
After the week the first episode's dropped, I don't think I've heard anyone mention or talk about it.
I still saw quite a bit about it, but maybe that's just because I'm more. I didn't watch any more of it.
You're in the weirdo, like sort of fantasy LARPing crowd, yes.
Fantasy, yes. LARPing, no.
Yes. Well,
I'm against it, but I'm not in that crowd.
Well, you don't have to LARP. You're naturally ginger, so.
Yeah, that's a punishment enough.
Next up, so young adults. There's a young adult slate of things. Universal Television and My So-Called Company have optioned the rights to 3 young adult books. So I'll give you some quick descriptions of these. So the first one is called We Were Liars. It is a tragic love story and an amnesia thriller set on a privately owned island off the coast of Massachusetts. It's been on the New York Times bestseller list for the past 22 months.
Quite a lot of months.
New York just sounds more important than Sunday. That's just fundamental.
Well, one's a place, one's a day.
True. But is there any place in the UK that would sound as important? Like the Surrey Times bestseller list?
Probably not. The Birmingham Times.
Or even just like York Best Times, like, because it's the New York Best Times and then just the York Best Times. Like, no, this is the old York. This is boring old York. No one cares about this.
See, that has a problem where you're too used to hearing New York Best Times.
Yeah.
So you're like, you're kind of like just making it sound weird by choosing York.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, amnesia thriller, privately owned island.
Yeah.
Honestly, it probably would sound like something that might be okay if it wasn't for the fact that it told me it was young adult. And then it was
Even that aside, I think it would still sound quite generic.
Generic, sure, but not
inherently terrible.
Yeah,
just generic.
Not lacking potential with the right creative touches, Next up is Family of Liars, which is a prequel to We Were Liars, the one that I just told you about.
Okay.
So we're franchising this already. There'll be 2 shows that are related.
I didn't take them long.
It takes readers back to the story of another summer, another generation, and the secrets that will haunt them for decades to come. So it sounds like it's just a similar premise, but set in the past.
Different characters, different secrets.
But presumably some connections to the island or something, some...
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, I presume that they'll do one, and then if it's a hit, they'll do the other one. That'd be my guess, because they're connected. And then the third one is Again, and it follows Adelaide Buchwald, maybe Buchwald, maybe it's a hard ch. Maybe my Scottish is coming in handy here. But anyway, who after a near fatal family catastrophe and an unexpected romantic upheaval finds herself catapulted into a summer of wild possibility. I hate this description. During which she will fall in and out of love 1,000 times while confronting the secrets she keeps, her ideas about love, and the weird grandiosity of the human mind. Do you know what? I don't think that technically broke any rules, but I think you should drink for that description because it was so up its own arse with bullshit.
I was going to say I'm not drunk enough for that description, and
therefore have a drink.
Drunk enough very quickly, but sure, why not? Why not?
I think this is just a judgment call of that deserves a drink. It's not about any specific rules. I would just just go for it. Oh, that bottle's almost done there. Always finish it. There you go.
Yep.
How's that going?
You know what is really annoying me? There's another bottle in the kitchen with just a little, a swig or 2 left in that I had planned. Oh, I'll bring that in for the news, and then I forgot and I've left it in the other room.
Oh no! So
I thought I'll finish that off. That'll be perfect. But no, never mind. I'm a moron.
We got a couple of stories left, and it's actually the first time since we came back, or at least since Upfronts was done at the start of us coming back to the weekly podcast show, that we have some network stories at the end of the show, some off-season pilots. So we're starting to maybe have some of them filter in. So starting off with an NBC show, it's picked up a drama to the series order for the 2022 to 2023 season. It's called Found, and it's coming from All Americans Netchi, or Ket, maybe it's a silent N, Ketchi, Okoro Carol, with Berlanti Productions and Warner Brothers Television. Berlanti all over the place, of course.
Usual suspects then.
If it's not Berlanti, it's Aaron Kaplan's Capital Entertainment, and if it's not any of them, it's Danny Strong for the hit television show, but for the Vampire Slayer, it's him that's producing some. Or Shonda Rhimes. Shonda Rhimes has got a lot as well, I suppose. That's I'm naming them.
She famously has a lot.
Yeah. Who I now have like a blood debt with, or a blood feud, because I watched Bridgerton episode 1, and
she over Bridgerton?
Yeah, well, I'm sure it said Shondaland at the start, so
I mean, I'll tell you what, I've never watched Bridgerton. You've seen more of it than I have. The only thing I know is that they used my favorite Taylor Swift song in it at some point. But I couldn't tell you any context for that. I haven't seen the scene or anything like that. I just know it's in there.
Yeah. So they've picked us up to series. Found stars Shanola Hampton. It's one of 6 NBC pilots set for off-cycle consideration. So this was the one the description was like really weird down. Yeah, here we go. So in any given year, more than 600,000 people are reported missing in the US. More than half of that number are people of color that the country seems to forget about. Public relations specialist Gabby Mosley, series star and producer Shanola Hampton, who was once herself one of those forgotten ones, and her crisis management team now make sure that there is always someone looking out for the forgotten missing people. But unbeknownst to anyone, this everyday hero is hiding a chilling secret of their own.
Can I just run and grab that other bottle real quick? I've like 10 seconds. God damn it.
Yeah, so you know, set off the character's real thing, the person's real stuff. I think the main thing I'd say about this before Kara gets back is that while it's admirable that this person does this in real life, this also sounds like a really generic crime network show, and that's not that appealing. So there you go.
Yeah, it sounds, like I say, fine, admirable in real life, but as a TV show, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. So there you go. He's drinking there for the secret part of that, just in case anyone
Honestly, when I said a minute ago, I left it there, I thought, oh, it's fine. There's only going to be a couple of news stories left. I won't bother. I won't need it. And then you said there were network shows, and I went, damn it.
Well, that brings us to our last story.
CBS.
Oh,
I don't know if there's enough left in the bottle.
CBS has given a pilot order to The Never Game, a drama series adaptation of Jeffrey Deaver's novel, starring and executive produced by Justin Hartley. This is one that was put to like the off-cycle part of the season because of Hartley's commitments to the final This Is Us schedule.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that's actually a pretty good reason.
Yeah. So he was finishing up that, so that's why they held off. So clearly he's a big part of the deal. They want him. He's the star of the show.
He's a pretty recognizable face, especially after This Is Us.
Oh, at this point, yeah. So written by Winters. What's his full name here? Because I've sort of skipped over that part. Ben Winters. Yeah. Ben Winters was replacing Michael Cooney as the head writer. Sorry. So he's written the show, written the pilot. So based on Deaver's novel, and to be directed by. Where's this? I hate this. So what they're doing? So in the description, it's giving me their surnames because they've already mentioned them in like another paragraph. So I'm just looking for this full name. Oh dear.
So unprofessional. You could have researched this ahead of time.
Oh, Ken Olin. There you go. So there you go. He's directing. The Never Game features Hartley as a lone wolf survivalist. Coulter Shaw. What a action hero TV name that is.
Lone wolf survivalist. Remember when he was Green Arrow?
You could literally have a bow and arrow in this and it wouldn't look out of place with this description.
Yeah.
Who roams the country as a reward seeker, using his expert tracking skills to help private citizens and law enforcement to solve all manner of mysteries while contending with his own fractured family.
Oh, you knew it was coming. CBS can't help themselves.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And that's another bottle down.
So technically you finished 2 bottles tonight. So obviously they were both nearly finished, but still, it sounds pretty bad.
This is kind of why I picked them, though. It's like, there's not enough left to have a good pour. There's not enough left to use them in a cocktail for anything. It's just like, well, there's I'll do for this.
So there you go. That's The Never Game. Sounds
terrible.
Sounds like a CBS show where he's just solving weekly crimes. Yeah.
You know that he's getting a damn decent paycheck.
The only thing that sticks out about it is that because he's wandering around the country, at least each episode will be in a different town or location. You know, he gets to have different locales. So
that's true.
Cool, I guess
it gives it a better premise than just like, oh, we need to find a case that happened in this immediate vicinity.
Yeah, yeah.
What went wrong in this neighborhood this time? It's we can go anywhere. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
So that's pretty much the news. I'll just sort of fill up. I mentioned at the start I did the Severance season 1 kind of wrap up video talking about the ending. I mean, I mostly talked about the last 2 or 3 episodes because they were particularly great in the refresh because I just watched those. But you can check out that. Obviously, we had a big episode of Better Call Saul this week, so make sure you go check that out. That went up on Friday. Obviously, Star Trek Deep Space Nine started this week for us. We just got to that point in Next Gen where Deep Space Nine starting to sprinkle in, so it's kind of a big deal. We've been those Star Trek shows since the start of 2017 with the original series, and we're now up to the point where we're in season 6 of Next Gen and starting season 1 of Deep Space Nine. So the journey continues, and you know that's what, 5 years of
Coming up on, yeah.
So
Well, it's like 4.5 at the minute, but yeah.
So yeah, but big stuff. So check out that too. Also, of course, head over to MailFuzz Movies if you fancy the movie podcast. Screams After Midnight's the horror movie podcast I do with Tim. We have been working through the Final Destination movies. The first three have been done. We've got the fourth one coming up, I think, next week. So look forward to that. Atomic Cinema Experiment, we just did David Cronenberg's new film. That's our sci-fi movie podcast, but we did Crimes of the Future as the last episode. Well, we're hearing about that. It's a weird one because it's David Cronenberg, so he does weird things.
It's kind of what he's known for.
So yeah, worth checking out those. So yeah, go have a look at all these things. And as mentioned during the show, yes, if you're at the $10 tier on Patreon, you can vote on the pilot priorities for me to check out next month. And
please don't vote for She-Hulk. Don't waste your vote.
The thing is,
or that other one, the name I've already forgotten about.
The Patient. There's enough there that they could vote for other things, avoid She-Hulk, and still avoid the ones you want me to watch. Like, there's enough there to.
All I'm saying is, the two I really want to make him watch, and the third is the third one. Vote for those.
Maybe no one wants to hear my thoughts on the first episode of a Game of Thrones spin-off, because it'll just be me moaning.
It'll be you talking about Matt Smith in a wig, and everyone wants to hear that. Because you didn't cover I mean, I haven't watched it either, but you didn't make us watch the trailer that came out yesterday, for that show, like the full proper trailer.
Life's too short to spend.
I didn't bother telling you because I was like, yeah, I'll just watch it when it comes out in like a month's time at this point, or whatever it is. But there's a Lord of the Rings trailer. I did watch that.
Well,
looks Lord of the Ringsy.
There you go. That's the whole shebang. That is the Almost Cancelled TV News Podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. I will thank our Patreon producers for the month. So thank you to Tyler Heston, De Palacios, David Sharp, Bornow, Christopher Moy, David Brown, Al Treisman, and Alison M. Fordyce. Of course, you can go over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and support us on a monthly basis and get some goodies for your troubles, including the $5 tier, which is the early access tier. You get this show a day early now on the Saturday before the Sunday. Unless in extreme rare cases where we can't record it until the Saturday, in which case everyone will just get it on the Sunday. But
it does occasionally happen because of my work schedule.
Yeah, we bounce around a lot, but we tend to get it done on Thursday or Friday. So, but go have a look, and of course you can support us as well on YouTube by just hitting the super thanks button below the video for a one time if that's what you want to do. All support is obviously greatly appreciated and helps keep all the content coming. So thank you very much for joining us once again. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?